I'm Anna Kui, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada. Tonight we have live updates from several of our correspondents from North and South America, starting with Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Social media could be hazardous to your health.
Next, we have Arlene Ocampo in Fort Washington, Maryland.
Maryland reports decrease in positivity rate.
Carlo Valdez in Union Township reports about New Jersey indoor gathering rules reversed as COVID-19 rates increase. We'll also hear from Michael Hudson in Everett, Washington, who will report about the possibility of the Mariners and Major League Baseball season ending early due to COVID-19 concerns. We go to the West Coast with Julianne Simbulan in Lancaster, California.
College Promise offers high school graduates free tuition across 9 Los Angeles campuses.
And in Sacramento, our bureau chief Angel Membrera reports about California Governor Gavin Newsom discussing the imperial model in response to COVID-19. Plus, we will hear from our Eagle News team here tonight about lessons they learned from their first jobs. So stick around for that. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, August 3, 2020, the number of COVID-19 cases reported worldwide is now more than 18 million. This includes more than 4,600,000 in the U.S. and close to 119,000 in Canada. This virus has claimed more than 690,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 155,000 deaths in the U.S. and close to 9,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin says there is enormous bipartisan support for not keeping TikTok in its current form, adding that the app, as it is now, can send back information and location on 100 million Americans. Speaking from the White House, Mnuchin did not comment directly on President Donald Trump's threat to bar the wildly popular video sharing app. Take a look.
What I will confirm is because TikTok acquired a U.S. company, it was subject to CFIUS jurisdiction. The CFIUS committee unanimously made a recommendation. That's one alternative which could force a sale. The president, as I said, can also use IEPA, as he's discussed. And there is enormous bipartisan support. We are not keeping TikTok in its current form, where the app can send back information and location on 100 million Americans.
In the latest ominous U.S. warning to the Chinese-owned app, Mnuchin said Sunday TikTok must either be sold or blocked in the U.S. due to national security concerns. TikTok, he said, simply cannot exist as it does. Mnuchin did not comment directly on President Donald Trump's threat Friday to bar the wildly popular video sharing app. The secretary recalled that the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, which he chairs, is reviewing TikTok, which is especially popular with young audiences who create and watch its short-form videos and has an estimated 1 billion users worldwide. But in any of many fronts in U.S.-Chinese relations that have turned practically poisonous these days, U.S. officials have said it could be a tool for Chinese intelligence. TikTok denies any such suggestion. Mnuchin said he has spoken to leaders of Congress, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the top Democrat in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, about what to do with TikTok's operations in the U.S. Mnuchin said they agree there needs to be a change, force a sale, or block the app. He said everybody agrees it can't exist as it does. Meanwhile, in Portland, demonstrators chanting and holding up signs march in downtown Portland on the 66th night of the Black Lives Matter protests and the third night without the presence of federal officers. The troops started their phased pullout last Thursday, but will remain in the protest-racked city until local law enforcement officials finish what U.S. President Donald Trump described as a, quote, cleanup of anarchists and agitators. Earlier, Portland police cleared parks and nearby roads around the city center on Friday in anticipation of the phased pullout by federal forces. City Mayor Ted Wheeler said the deployment was part of the agreement for federal officers to leave. In a tweet late Friday, Wheeler thanked the peaceful protesters and said they had reclaimed the space that has been a staging ground for violence to share their powerful message of reformative justice. Earlier this month, the Trump administration sent federal tactical teams, many wearing combat-like gear, to intervene in the city after weeks of protests against racism and police brutality saw windows broken and graffiti scrawled on the federal courthouse and other buildings. When we come back, updates from our correspondents across North America. We'll return shortly. This is Eagle News America.
Hello there, I'm Alfred, and I'm a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Computer Science, batch of 2008 in New Era University. I'm currently working as an operations analyst in Autodesk.
Hi, I'm Earl Espanio, and I graduated with Bachelor of Science major in Computer Science in 2010. I am a consultant at Trinity Consulting, LLC.
Hi, I'm Ivy Nakatagal, Bachelor's of Computer Science graduate, year 2010. I'm currently working as a cybersecurity analyst in one of the largest telco here in New Zealand, Coast Park NZ.
I'm Frank David Riego, a BS Computer Science graduate here in 2015. As a legal analyst, I am tasked to read US cases, specifically civil torts cases.
I am Melanie Rico Hermosa P, a Bachelor of Science and Computer Science graduate, year 2006.
I'm currently a software quality assurance engineer at FBI Systems here in Maryland, United States.
Hi, I'm Renzo Cruz. I'm a graduate of BS Computer Science, year 2012. I'm currently working abroad, and I'm working as a senior cybersecurity consultant who specializes in digital forensics and incident response. And I am part of a national security in one of the countries here in the Middle East.
I am inviting everyone to study at New Era University. Too legit, too great.
Be brilliant in the new era.
Study now at New Era University.
Excellence,
Discipline,
Service to humanity.
Bukas na po ang auditions para sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Mag-audition na po kayo sapagkat mahigit sa 7 million pesos ang nag-aantay na papremyo sa kategorya ng sayawan at kantahan. Opo, Tagisan ng Galing Part 2. Dito lamang po yan sa Net 25.
Accurate and fair reporting. Not only from Batanes to Tawi-Tawi, but also abroad. Detailed and timely stories relevant to people all over the world. Catch all of these at Net 25. your reliable source of news, entertainment, and technology updates.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world.
Changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.
Wash your hands.
And if you can, stay at home.
We at DW
are here for you.
We are working tirelessly to keep you informed on all of our platforms.
We're all in this together.
And together,
we'll make it through.
Stay safe, everybody.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Stay safe.
Please, stay safe.
Tissue boxes mo. Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw materials daw ng mask at tissue products ay iisa lang. Saan naman galing ang balitang yan? Ay basta, narinig ko lang din. Maraming diling kayang nagpo-post sa Facebook at Twitter, kaya kung ako sa'yo, kumuha ka na din. Sige na't mauna na ako sa'yo
Huwag basta-basta magpaniwala
sa mga nakikita
o nababasa sa social media.
Magsaliksik at i-verify ang lahat ng impormasyon
nakukuha sa internet.
Tandaan,
maging responsable tayo
sa paggamit ng social media
nang hindi magdulot ng panic sa iba.
Kung paanong dapat labanan ng COVID-19
ay gayon din ang ating pagsugpo
sa black propaganda
at maling impormasyon.
Dennis Lu,
Lou Amelda,
Luigian Alfartosa,
Tyranel Pililu,
Hannibal Arevalo,
EBC,
Japan,
Euro.
We live in interesting times.
Welcome back. This is Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. A study says social media could be hazardous to your health. In Edmonton, Bureau Chief Thomas Likeness has the story.
Good evening, Anna. A McGill University study out of Montreal, Canada, says the global spread of false and misleading information about the pandemic on social media is creating a public health crisis. And the researchers say this misleading information could change the size and just how deadly an outbreak might be as people reject advice given by public health officials. Well, we've all heard it. Some people are railing against lockdowns, face masks. Some want to stop any effort to order mandatory vaccines against COVID-19. Others simply believe the pandemic is a hoax, doesn't exist. It's all made up. It's a conspiracy. Well, the study notes that Facebook and Twitter play a big role in boosting these misconceptions because a growing number of people are relying on these platforms for news. One of the study's authors, Angus Bridgman, says 16% of Canadians rely on social media as their main source of news. These platforms include not only Facebook and Twitter, but YouTube, Reddit, Instagram, and Tumblr. The researchers say people even incidentally exposed to misinformation may change their attitudes and behaviors when it comes to public health advice. I guess if you hear it often enough, you begin to think, well, there's smoke, there's fire. It's kind of the old adage, we become a product of our environment. So based on the study, the more a person relies on social media to learn about COVID-19, the more likely they are to be exposed to bogus theories and these so-called cures. The criticism hurled at social media outlets is that there is no fact-checking. Basically, anyone can post anything. It's very much like a long backyard fence that kind of spans the world. People can just kind of lean on it while they gossip with their cyber neighbors about the topics of the day. A cause for concern then is that people of all levels of education, all age groups, all political persuasions, well, they may be exposed and even worse, accept this misinformation that's been posted on these platforms. We're dealing with people who are scared. And people who are scared might look for someone to blame. This is in an effort to kind of make sense out of what's happening around them. This pandemic for many is something they've never had to deal with. The pandemic with its lockdown, with its economic effects, well, it's created a perfect medium for the germs of misinformation to flourish in, and that misinformation can spread as rapidly through a population as the COVID virus can. So be careful where you get your information from, and if you can't verify it, don't believe it, no matter who says it. In the meantime, I wish you all good health. Take care of others, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and other current affairs. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Thomas, for that. That's a good report, because a lot of people do rely on social media, like you said. Instead of watching the news, it's just easier for them to, get on their phone. And it's constant, right? I mean, it's so easy for them to just look at their phone wherever they are during the day, even at work. What about you? I mean, in other studies, social media, there's been other studies where they said it's actually good for your health, right? For your mental and well-being. What do you think about that?
It's kind of, I like to think of social media as kind of the fast food of journalism. A little bit is okay, but you don't want a steady diet of it. The same as when I go to my local drive-through. A couple of burgers a month isn't going to kill me. But if I do that every day, I might not be here. So you got to be careful. You got to take things in balance. What I fear is this stuff is entertaining. It's clickbait. It's eye-catching, and people are falling for it. They're falling for the sizzle, but they're not getting the steak.
Yes, and people tend to, of course, follow people that have the same similar opinions that they have, and if it's negative, it's going to continue to be negative because that's what they want to hear. That's what they want to see, unfortunately.
Yeah. I always tell people to, when you're reading the opinion section of a newspaper, I still read newspapers, read the people that you disagree with, because it'll force you to rethink your own, where you're coming from. And like I say, you learn how the other half lives.
Yes. Well, I wish there was a way. I think we should have more public service announcements reminding people about the importance of, like you said, fact-checking. What else can we do, right, Thomas?
We can only keep in our outlet making sure that we are accurate and we are balanced, and truly we are.
Yes. That's the best we can do. Well, what about you? What platform, what social media platform are you, heavily active in?
I'm not active in social media personally. I use it strictly for research, but, excuse me, that's what you call a cough switch. I don't know whether mine worked. No, I personally don't use social media except for research. So I'll scan Twitter to see what public officials are saying, check out things on Facebook, use it as a tip service, but I would certainly never go with something I saw on Facebook without first of all checking out the accuracy of the information.
Yes, I agree. Especially Twitter. Twitter for me, I'm telling you, there are days it raises my blood pressure, Thomas.
Some people run countries on Twitter.
Oh, yeah, yes. We won't mention which country that is. Well, thank you, Thomas, for your great report. And it's always a pleasure to have you joining us. And we'll look forward to having you again next time.
Always a pleasure to be here.
Take care. Maryland reports decrease in COVID-19 positivity rate and calls for vigilance to mitigate the spread of the virus. In Fort Washington, Arlene Ocampo reports.
Thank you, Anna. After conducting 1,294,065 tests, Maryland's positivity rate for COVID-19 falls to 4.36%, and current hospitalizations are at 548, with 135 ICU beds being used. The fight continues against COVID-19. Stay cautious and vigilant. Continue practicing social distancing and wearing masks. Marylanders are continuously encouraged to get tested at the many testing sites throughout the state. Testing areas in community-based sites will be suspended tomorrow, though, in anticipation of the potential impacts of Hurricane Isaias. As Maryland remains at Stage 2, the Maryland Strong Roadmap to Recovery, there are executive orders to serve as pathways to this roadmap. With several recent incidents of illegal large gatherings, one of the counties in Maryland, Prince George's County, had to roll back on their limitations. The new restrictions started August 1st at 5 p.m. with a 50-person limit for recreational, social, and community gatherings. Retail businesses are not affected by this new order. The new order is primarily affiliated and aimed towards parties and family gatherings. Placing a limit is an additional precaution on reducing the spread and transmission and to keep people safe. Contact tracing is being used to pinpoint those who have been infected, but at the same time, this information is being used to find commonalities of behavior and associate where and how the virus is spreading. Here is the breakdown that Governor Hogan had announced for the state of Maryland based on recent interviews conducted with COVID-19 patients. Higher risk gatherings will include family gatherings at 44%, house parties 23%, outdoor event 21%. Higher risk locations, including work outside of the home, 54%, indoor retail shopping 39%, indoor dining at restaurants at 23%, and outdoor dining at restaurants at 23% as well. Employment information, healthcare surroundings, 25%, non-public facing surroundings at 23%, public facing at 13%, and restaurant food services at 12%. Another precautionary measure is wearing of our mask. Maryland Governor Hogan expanded the statewide mask order that took into effect Friday, July 31st at 5 p.m. Two Maryland counties added ordinances to help encourage the wearing of masks. In Talbot County, there is actually a fine of $1,000 after you've been warned the first time. In Ocean City, a popular beach nearby, here in the state of Maryland, masks are required to be worn on the boardwalk from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. We are all expected to wear a mask in all public spaces of all businesses and outdoor public areas when it is impossible to maintain that physical distancing. Masks are a simple item that we can add to our daily attire, but a critical piece to slow the spread of the virus and keep Maryland open for business. At a minimum, let's continue to socially distance ourselves, wash our hands, and wear our mask. In Fort Washington, Maryland, Arlene Ocampo, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Arlene, for that report. Now, the last time we had you on, I remember you were talking about venturing out to a buy local event that was happening there. Have you ventured out anywhere else?
Just to pick up a few groceries. I'm still at a minimum at going out.
How about the local beaches out there?
So the local beaches, no, I have not. There's the actual major beach close to me is not even Ocean City here in Maryland. The closest one to me would be in Delaware, which is a 2-hour drive. I have not ventured out there as well. So.
Okay. Well, I know you mentioned there's a $1,000 fine if they are caught. You know, if someone is caught without wearing a mask the second time around, that's a pretty hefty fine. Yes. What are your thoughts in in wearing masks?
Well, when I do finally venture out to go to the beach, I will definitely wear my mask. I'm all for wearing masks. As I've mentioned before, anything to slow the virus, I'm all for it. And I know a lot of people are not comfortable wearing the mask, especially now with the weather being warm. I hear people complaining about it, that it's such a nuisance to wear it. And another thing, a lot of people don't wear them properly. But let's think about like our doctors, our nurses, our essential workers that are out there every day. And, they have to wear this on a daily and pretty much all day while they are at their day job. So let's think about them and, what they go through and kind of not complain about us wearing the mask just for the couple hours that we are out. Just so, this will definitely help everybody, help the environment, and definitely slow the spread of the virus.
Exactly.
Anna?
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. It's just I think it's a change of changing the mindset. That it's something that we just have to do and to help everybody, not just ourselves. So,
yes.
Well, thank you, Arlene, for your report. Nice to have you on, and we'll see you again next time. Take care.
Thank you, Anna.
New Jersey indoor gathering rules are reversed as COVID-19 rates increase. In Union Township, Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez has the details.
New Jersey Governor Phil Murphy stated Monday that he will reverse the indoor gathering rules after a spike in the spread of COVID-19. The limit now on indoor gatherings is at 25% of max capacity, but with a maximum of 25 people, which is down from 100 people. This implementation, though, will not apply to weddings, funerals, memorial services, and religious and political activities that is covered and protected under the First Amendment. They can still hold their activities at 25% capacity, but a limit of 100 persons. Governor Murphy made it clear that even house parties are capped at 25 people. The state's rate of transmission is 1.48 compared to last month's low figure of 0.87. The rate of transmission measures how many people are getting infected from the virus from a person who is COVID-19 positive. Here's Governor Murphy stating how this has all happened.
As we had discussed on Friday, we believe that some of this increase is attributable to the number of indoor house parties and other events which we have been seeing across the state. And again, I refer to the parties among other places in Middletown, which has led to nearly 60 cases among teens, as well as those on Long Beach Island, which led to nearly 36 cases among lifeguards in Harvey Cedars and Surf City, and there have been others. And with the hot and humid weather we've been experiencing, we know that there have been many more such indoor parties taking place which have not made the news. We cannot be any clearer that indoor gatherings, especially large, crowded ones where social distancing isn't practiced and face masks aren't worn, they just are not safe.
And as for coronavirus stats and numbers, New Jersey reports of 264 new positive COVID-19 test results, pushing the cumulative total to 182,614. Sadly, New Jersey is reporting another 10 COVID-19 deaths. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News, will live in interesting times. Back to you, Anna.
Thank you, Carlo, for your report. Coming up, more updates from our correspondents across the U.S. Stay with us. This is Eagle News America.
I'm Vina Morales. Abangan ang part 2 ng Tagisan ng Galing dito lang sa Net25.
The Mariners and Major League Baseball season may end early due to COVID-19 concerns. In Everett, Michael Hudson has the details.
Hi, good afternoon. The most popular news right now here in the state is that of sports as it pertains to Major League Baseball. The state's lone professional baseball team, the Seattle Mariners, officially started their season this past Friday as they took on the Oakland Athletics and won 5-3. State Governor Jay Inslee was also there to throw out the first pitch before the game. Playing in an empty Safeco field, the Mariners are following suit of every other MLB team in the entire league, playing with just themselves and cardboard cutouts of fans littered throughout the arenas. And with the season now in full swing, there have been many COVID-19 positive cases throughout the league, with as many as 6 teams having to postpone their games due to the pandemic negatively affecting their players and staff members. The most recent positive cases are within the St. Louis Cardinals baseball organization, where they had to postpone their most recent game to a later date. And with so many surges that are going on, many players have opted out of playing due to the fact that there have been a bit concerned about how the pandemic has been handled within the league so far. And so the MLB commissioner, Rob Manfred, told numerous reporters that even though the games will go on, the players need to do a better job of following the safety protocols issued by the league. If they're not followed, then the commissioner has no choice but to shut down the entire league for the rest of the season for good. There have been many players who have been leaving their residence and going out to restaurants and in public places and things like that, really exposing them to the virus. And they're not required to be in a bubble, such as the NBA and what the WNBA are doing right now. So with that being said, the Mariners, they're a very young team and need all the games they can get to really build their chemistry. And if the league stops abruptly, that chemistry will have to be deferred to a later date. As for the current COVID-19 numbers within the state of Washington, right now we are at 60,161 confirmed cases and 1,680 deaths. We're hoping here that everyone continues to follow the safety protocols so that we can do our very best in succeeding in our daily lives. Reporting from Seattle, Washington, I'm Michael Hudson. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Michael, for that report. College Promise offers high school graduates free tuition across 9 Los Angeles campuses. In Lancaster, Eagle News correspondent Julianne Simbulan reports.
Thank you, Anna. The Los Angeles College Promise, or LACP, gives high school graduates in the county of Los Angeles with the opportunity of college education through free tuition at the 9 campuses of the Los Angeles Community College District and an added bonus of a free laptop to those who enroll for the first time in this program to assist them with distance learning. Once enrolled, the LACP offers a wide array of academic support and assistance, as well as financial resources for books and meeting the needs of students, including food and transportation, in addition to the 2 years of free community college tuition. The program provides almost all the help needed for the students to succeed. Those interested must first apply to one of the 9 Los Angeles Community College districts, which are Pierce College, Los Angeles Mission College, Los Angeles Valley College, Los Angeles City College, East Los Angeles College, West Los Angeles College, Los Angeles Trade Technical College, Los Angeles Southwest College, and Los Angeles Harbor College. The second step is to apply for the program at lacollegepromise.org and fill in the information requested on the Los Angeles College Promise interest form. The third and last step is then to complete the free application for federal student aid, known as the FAFSA, or the California Dream Act application. The LACP was the vision of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti to encourage high school students to attain a higher education degree and share their financial success in the workforce. Mayor Garcetti launched this program in 2016 to create a city of graduates, making the dream of college a reality to more Angelenos, giving them the tools needed for a brighter and successful future. Those graduating from high school in Los Angeles and are unable to attend private universities or colleges due to financial or other reasons may want to consider the Los Angeles College Promise, as it is not too late to apply. Now, with more good news, COVID-19 statistics continue to maintain a low trend with a number of newly reported cases in Los Angeles County of 1,634 and 12 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county is 193,788, with 4,701 deaths and 1,784 current hospitalizations. The Los Angeles Public Health Department announced today that they are being carefully positive that Los Angeles County is slowing the spread of the virus, as this data might be due to many businesses being closed in recent weeks due to the surges in numbers at that time. Meanwhile, the state of California has a total of 514,901 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 9,388 deaths, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In Lancaster, California, Julianne Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Julianne, for your report. You know, I like that the program requires high school graduates to enroll in community colleges first, because it's, you know, it's very practical to do that. And you're in college yourself. What do you think about that?
Yes, Anna, this is actually a great option, as there are no income requirements or restrictions on parents' incomes in order for the students to qualify for the Los Angeles College Promise, just as long as they are first-time college students with a high school diploma or GED and a California resident, or have an approved California non-resident tuition exemption request. Although this may seem like a free ticket to education, students enrolled in this program still need to put in the effort of studying and passing their classes. Students must maintain a 2.0 grade point average and a full-time enrollment of at least 12 units per semester to remain qualified for this program.
How are you doing? Are you in school now?
Yes. Currently for me, I'm enrolled in school, but since it's the summer, school has not started yet. But around in late August, school will start for me.
Okay. You're looking forward to it? With everything that's happening, what are your thoughts about, you know, going back to school?
I am looking forward to it because I can finally socialize a little bit instead of just sitting in my room all day. quarantining myself.
Yes.
But it's nice for like that, just like a little bit of interaction and, learning new things. So I am excited, yes.
Are you actually going to campus, or most of your classes going to be online?
For my school, we're all online. We're starting the semester fully online. So, but there is a chance for it to become a hybrid, maybe in the middle of the semester, but we're not sure yet since the coronavirus cases are still not sure.
At least, like you said, you'll be able to talk to some people, even though it's going to be online. So
yes.
Well, thank you, Julianne. You stay safe out there, and we'll look forward to
you
you again. Bye.
You too.
California Governor Gavin Newsom discusses the imperial model in response to COVID-19. In Sacramento, Bureau Chief Angel Membrera reports.
Thank you. In a press conference today, Governor Newsom discussed the imperial model, which refers to areas in California that have become increasingly high in their COVID-19 positive cases, and in turn would receive support at the local level to meet the needs of the community. For example, providing personal protective equipment to meet the needs of the hospitals, with sending more medical personnel, and even with creating more health awareness campaigns. Governor Newsom explains more.
The model now, as we're referring to it, the imperial model, was all about providing supports, building capacity at the local level, filling in gaps, meeting needs both on personal protective gear, not just personnel, meeting the needs of the hospital system, providing additional supports, new strategies and prevention from PSA campaigns, culturally competent messages that were delivered to individuals as well as businesses and more broadly the community at large, in addition to sectoral closures that we made abundantly clear as it relates to moving forward to address the concerns that were flaring up in certain sectors of the economy.
Governor Gavin Newsom also reported the increasing rate of hospitalizations in the Central Valley area and why federal and private partnerships were made as a response to address these concerns. Let's listen to more about these partnerships.
What our biggest area of concern in a state as large as ours, it is indeed the Central Valley. We're seeing stabilization in other parts of the state. You'll see some declines in a moment when I make presentation, including some stabilization and some modest declines in Southern California. The Central Valley, again, reinforced by this slide, reinforced by our presentation in Stockton last week, and our announcement last week, is indeed the area of our most important targeted interventions. We are, again, doing everything we can to fill in local gaps and working with counties to assess their current dashboard as it relates to data collection, identifying whatever gaps may exist or persist in their respective communities. But more important than anything else, identifying partners, not just partners from governmental agencies, again, federal agencies. 5 out of the 8 Department of Defense medical teams are deployed now in the Central Valley. Again, federal partnerships, but also developing private partnerships, critical to develop partnerships with employers, critical to develop partnerships with non-governmental organizations, nonprofits, NGOs, to, again, build capacity and build our collective response with a unified command approach to addressing the concerns in the Valley. And so that's exactly what we highlighted last week. We built that partnership to include $52 million of new resources for disease investigation, for contact tracing, and for our isolation and quarantine efforts. In addition to that, we have been able to, and I want to thank the Sierra Health Foundation in particular, they have been able to organize a collective effort, $6.5 million of additional resources that philanthropy has brought to the table to supplement or increase, rather, the $52 million contribution that we announced last week. And this is for rent, supplies, really helping individuals with utility bills and the like. Again, focusing on the most vulnerable.
Now, even with this increasing rate of hospitalizations in the Central Valley, the positive news to this is that Testing has increased, but also positivity rates have started to decline. In Sacramento, California, Angel Membreri, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Angel, for your report. When we come back, lessons learned from our first jobs. We'll return shortly. Stay with us. This is Eagle News America.
Hello po. Ako po si Marco Sison. Abangan po natin ang part 2 ng Tagisan ng Galing dito lang sa Net 20.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced. Eagle News, because we live in interesting times.
Hello, my name is Robin, and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside, and I cannot even visit my friends. We can only go outside if we visit the doctor or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News America. I'm Anna Cui in Las Vegas. Well, school's out, and a lot of graduates or those already eligible to work are out there on the hunt for their first jobs. Tonight, let's talk about our first jobs and the lessons we learned from when we first entered the workforce. Well, before I start, before I toss it to one of you, our team here tonight, I want to talk about our executive producer, Eliza Gonzalez Mangligmot, and she was telling us what her first job was. She couldn't join us tonight, but her first job was actually at a bank, and this was in the Philippines, as I recall. And she didn't know what that button is under the desk. And I guess one day she tells us that she was playing with it, and it actually, of course, triggered the 911 call to the police. And normally they would call, so they called, and luckily she's the one who answered the phone. And so it was, she told them that there was no robbery. And then one day, it actually happened. There was a robbery did happen in the bank, and her first instinct was, and she contributes this to lack of training. So we'll leave it at that. Her first instinct was to run to the vault, the bank vault, and so she was running, and her boss, who's the manager, was asking her where she was going, and she said, "I'm going to go to the vault to hide." And her boss said, "Well, that's where they would go." So lesson learned: if you're first time working in the bank, and don't go to the vault to if you're being robbed. But I mean, that is that I don't know if any of us can beat that tonight, team. So let's start with Thomas. Let's hear what your first job experience was.
My story pales by comparison. I guess I could make one up. I was working at a nuclear plant, and I pressed this button. But no, my first job, I actually had to lie about my age to get it. I was 15 years old. I wanted to work. It was summertime, so I got a full-time job in a hospital as a cleaner because I told them I was really 16. By the time they found out I was on the payroll, and they just kind of turned a blind eye to it. But the lesson I learned there, well, I loved it. Not the most glamorous job in the world, but here I was, this 15-year-old kid making almost as much money as my father, and they're treating me like an adult, which I really liked. Now, the other side of the coin is they expected me to act like an adult. So that was probably the biggest thing I learned was accepting responsibility, having to act in a mature manner. And I actually stayed with them for about 4 years, and it managed to pay for a good part of my undergraduate in university. But I still, every time I drive by that hospital, it's got a soft spot in my heart because it was probably 4 years, 4 of the best years of my life. It kept me on full time during high school. I would go to work after school in the evenings till about midnight. So work also meant a lot of freedom because there was no curfew. I could stay out till midnight because that's when my shift ended.
Wow, talk about learning real responsibility at a young age. So that's a very good lesson to learn for a first job.
And a lot of companies are like that. Some of the fast food places, there's a very large. Am I allowed to mention anybody's name?
Well,
well, they call it Walter Mart in the Philippines, but they have its counterpart here in North America. Those places are really good places for kids to learn responsibility because they actually expect you to act like an adult, and they actually fire you if you don't. And
as they should, right? I mean, because
my son, again, he lied about his age, got on at this store, and that was the one thing, is he learned a lot of responsibility, which certainly paid off in later years for him when he got out of school into the real world.
So you couldn't get mad at him for lying about his
lying about his age to get a job. That would be pretty hypocritical, I think.
And I like that you mentioned, it may not have been the most glamorous job, but you learn good things from it, and and like I hear from a lot of people, and even with me, it doesn't matter what it is that you do. I think if you do it well, that's what matters.
I was working with a large immigrant population in the hospital, in that particular workforce from all over the world, Europe, Hong Kong, and so on. Many of them took the job. They were well educated, but they took the job because they couldn't speak English, and it was an opportunity to learn English. And I learned so much from these folks. I learned that some of them, they'd been here for 30 years, still didn't own a car, but they owned 3 houses. They knew how to save money. They just taught me so much about just the real world.
Yeah, about life and being grateful and cherishing. Because those opportunities that.
Yeah, even my first boss, he was the son of immigrants. He insisted and took me down to a credit union and insisted I open a savings account and make a commitment to put some of my money into a savings account. Kind of went out of his way to do that. I don't know whether an employer could get away with that now, but they were just invaluable lessons to learn.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. You learn so much more than, the valuable real life lessons.
Yeah. The job was very secondary to what we really learned in that environment. Let's hear from somebody else, though.
Yes. Yes, thank you, Thomas. Before I go to Arlene, I'm going to prep you. That story, really, I wish that Eliza joined us because she could have told it much better than I did, but I just wanted to put that out there. So how about you, Arlene? What was your first job? Tell us about it.
Well, my first job was a summer job as a 16-year-old. I didn't have to lie about my age. But it was a termite pest control company. I wasn't in the actual building. I actually worked from the owner's home, answering the phones, filing, taking orders, and just the usual admin stuff. But what I got out of it was, you know, organizational skills, mannerisms on the phone, and, you know, until now, these are things that you use every day. So that's what I remember as a 16-year-old.
Foundation of I would think every job, right? To, you know, to learn and hone in on organizational skills, and plus just plain old phone etiquette. That goes a long way.
Yes, that is correct.
It's weird that we all kind of got started early. I was also 16 when I first started working. I guess before we go to Julianne, I'll share mine. I was 16. I worked at a restaurant. It was actually a big stop off of Interstate 5 in California, in Lemoore. It was a steakhouse, and I learned the importance of customer service, in addition to learning how to pronounce the names properly, because I moved to the States when I was 13, so 3 years later, I'm still, you know, trying to perfect my English back then. So I learned, you know, the how to pronounce the names properly, and also, you know, to provide good customer service. And now I'm in the industry, in the healthcare industry, and that same concept applies, because it's really important for patient experience. It's actually required by some programs under Medicare. It's how, you know, companies are graded, you know, when it comes to how providing good patient experience. It's how you make them feel. So, you know, being polite and going up to them instead of just calling out their name, you actually make a note of what they're wearing. And that's what I did when I was hostessing. I made a note of what they were wearing, you know, white cap, whatever, and then you had to actually go up to them and say their name. So it was really personable. So I think that's interesting. Like much years later, the concept is still the same. So it's really just about treating people the way you want to be treated. I mean, that's the lesson I learned from there. So, Julianne, we're going to go to you. Are you working? I think you did mention you're working. Tell us about your first job.
I'm currently employed in my first job right now, and I work at, it's a work study, and I work at my campus's herbarium, where they keep plant specimens. And my job I'm a curatorial assistant, and basically my job is to image specimens and kind of update our database concerning the specimens. And many other campuses use our database, so we have to update it pretty regularly. But yeah, that's basically my job.
Well, how do you like it? It's your first job. Like, you know, what do you like about it?
I really like, I do like my job, and it's fun to learn about the different vegetation in different countries, because we examine like vegetation from Japan, Philippines, Mexico, and it's really interesting to see how they change according to the climate of the area and the environment. So I get to see how, I get to see the world in that perspective. So it's pretty interesting.
That is interesting, especially now with global warming. I was watching a show about it, how in Peru, they, you know, they are cataloging and preserving all kinds of different genes of potatoes. And because of global warming, you know, they're having to adjust how they grow it, and it's really amazing. Like, you know, we
That's
don't
so interesting.
yeah, we don't think about that, but there's like thousands of, I think from what I recall, they have like 4,000 different seedlings of
Really?
different potatoes, and you know, they preserve them so that if in case of like a major disaster, that they would have these seedlings and be able to continue to grow them. Because I learned that potato, you can live on potato. You know, who doesn't like French fries, right?
Right.
Well, that's good that you're working. Have a little bit of you know, money. That I think when we learn at a young age, we learn the value of money. Then you start to, you know, to stop asking your parents for money, right?
That's right. Exactly.
What do you think about that, Thomas?
Growing up in the 60s, there just wasn't a lot of money. I remember telling my father shortly before he died, I said, you know, Dad, the best thing you ever did for me was very little. And he says, I was hoping you'd catch on.
Good lesson.
But,
Good lesson.
you know, it was a generation you were raised where if you wanted something, you had to work for it, because there just wasn't a lot of cash around.
Well, that's how I raise my kids too. Like, if you want something you need, if there's something you need, I'll give it to you. If it's something you want.
Oh, yeah. We learned the difference very young between wants and needs.
A good lesson. So for those of you kids watching out there, make sure you keep that in mind. Well, thank you so much, Thomas, Julianne, and Arlene, for joining us in our discussion tonight. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you all again next time. Let's continue to thank our frontline and essential workers for the round of applause. Team, let's join together. Thank you so much. We do appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for joining us. That is Eagle News. I'm Anna Clay. We live in interesting times.
Tamang impormasyon, napapanahon, mula Batanes hanggang taon-taon, di lamang sa bansa, kundi maging sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo. Mga balitang pakabuluhan, mga panayam sa kinauukulan, subaybayan. Dito lamang sa Net25. News, entertainment, technology.
Ito po si Angeline Quinto. Abangan ang part 2 ng Tagisan ng Galing dito lang sa Net25.
Tissue boxes mo. Hindi mo ba alam, mauubos daw ang mga tissue products? Bakit naman? Ang raw material